big boo-boo today on CNN. And when he made that boo-boo...
Welcome to Politics Done Right. I am your host, Egberto Willies. This is a progressive program that will take the mystery out of politics. This is the program that will encourage you to make sure government becomes we the people. Whether you are liberal, progressive, conservative, or otherwise, you get to air your point of view. We are an independent media outlet that, unlike mainstream media beholden to corporations, we only owe allegiance to you. Remember, you can also send me a tweet at EGBERTOWILLIES. That is at Egberto Willies. Let us engage. It is Politics Done Right.
Well, folks, welcome to one more edition of Politics Done Right. I'm Egberto Willies, your host. Thank you so kindly for being a part of the show. We are going to have a great show for you today. Anyway, folks, we got two pretty important videos, and then there's a couple of stuff I want to do on TikTok stuff that I'll show you as well. Anyway, how's everybody doing? I trust everybody's doing just fine. Welcome aboard in the house. As usual, or most of the time, El Señor Michael Rudden is in number 1, AVQ, in Brooklyn, New York. Number 2 is Paul Fleming from Powder Springs, Georgia. Eric Hayes from Kingwood, Atascocita. Of course, we have Jay Ray. He says today's hump day, which is true. Today is hump day, Wednesday. Lee the Bearcat from Austin, Texas. Jay Ray is from Houston, Texas. We also have Yvette Avery Herod, the lovely Yvette Avery Herod from Atlanta, Georgia. In the house as well is Margaret Ryan. I think Margaret Ryan. I always get the Marg and the Margie mixed up. I think from Washington. We got Deborah Downey. We have Barbara Fetante from Austin, Texas. Melanie Fry, Todd Richardson, Harsha Aberratney, Joan English. Deborah Downey says, I cannot get on because of interminable advertisement. I don't know, what are we talking about? I don't think there's any advertising that shows up on Substack. Am I missing something? Please let me know what I'm missing, please, Deborah. Marge KJ, Paula in the house, Robert Murray, Wendy Yeldell, Dale, Stevie, Maria Summer, independent voter number 1. Great show for you today, folks. Anyway, let's go ahead and get started. Let's see what we got here. If anybody has anything that they want me to start with. Paul says, so just before Trump used U.S. Navy recruits as a backdrop for his political rally, the chief of staff of the Navy was sacked by Hegseth. I'm guessing that he refused to allow his branch of the military to be illegally politicized. That's probably what happened. Paul also says, so just before Trump, I think that's one I read before. Let's see, YouTube occasionally shows ads when I start up. Okay, I think that is okay. I think that's 4 seconds, and then they give you the option to cut it off, I believe, if I get it correctly. Margaret Ryan says, use DuckDuckGo when using YouTube. It will eliminate ads. DuckDuckGo to eliminate ads. Don't eliminate too many of those, of course, because again, we use some of those as support for the program. Anyway, let's see what else we've got here. Common Sense, new CBS News staffer received new marching orders, urged to treat Democrats and Republicans equally. David Ellison wants less partisan division as Barry Weiss sends first internal memo of CBS. If you guys actually think that CBS or any of the mainstream media had a left wing or a Democratic bias, then you are all dreaming. I complain about how the mainstream media attacks Democrats, the way they ask questions and they give Republicans a pass all of the times. No doubt about it. All of the times. The mainstream media, they're hard on Democrats, and they've always been hard on Democrats. So, you know, Republicans are very good at doing something that Democrats need to learn. And that is, if you pre-accuse, notice what I said, if you pre-accuse the person who you're interviewing of taking a position, what is likely to happen is that they back off of you. That is if you're a Republican. But Democrats don't do things like that. They go out, they go and take things mano a mano. It's unfortunate. You even take how they're handling the shutdown right now. I mean, I see Marjorie Taylor Greene doing and I don't like Marjorie Taylor Greene, but she is doing a better job of personalizing the needs for subsidies in a manner that people understand, so much better than Hakeem Jeffries or what's his name? The head. Why did I forget Chuck Schumer again? Anyway, doing a better job than Chuck Schumer. Chuck Schumer is making corny jokes. Our good old Marjorie Taylor Greene comes out and she says, my daughter's going to pay twice as much for her health insurance. And you didn't tell us the truth, and the party just is doing the wrong thing. Man, imagine if we had some Democrats come out when we were fighting for the Affordable Care Act to include the public option. Suppose we had somebody come out and say, hey, you guys are doing it all wrong. We need the public option to keep the prices down, right? We had the public options, the prices would be much lower because we also know that what we have is a ripoff. Let's see. Michael says MTG didn't do something about healthcare subsidies until it impacted her own family directly. Of course, some of these senators never came out supporting same-sex marriage until they found out their kids were gay. That's what happens when you lack broad-based empathy. That's what happens when you lack broad-based empathy. Desmond Jones says, I don't either. Marjorie Taylor Greene is the first Republican to say that they have the option to change the voting rules in the Senate. Yeah, please do. Look, let me tell you something, okay? A lot of people that are going to be hurting right now on the left side, they sat down on their couches. Donald Trump barely won this election. Let's be clear. Donald Trump barely won this election, 1 point something points. Okay? A lot of folks couldn't vote for this woman and they stayed home. Now they're wondering what's going to happen to their health care. Even Medicare is at risk right now because of because of sequestration. Because they blew the budget so badly that $500 billion is going to come out of Medicare, which is supposed to be an untouchable. But they didn't make it so untouchable when it came to austerity. These are things that we've got to know. Another piece of news. Capitalism is at its lowest point right now at 54%. And it's only at 54% because people are indoctrinated into belief it's something that it's not. That is the latest Gallup poll. I think America is moving into the right direction. That capitalism is a failure and that we need some other economic system. And don't let them fool you that some other economic system means Venezuela, Russia, or Cuba. That's not what it means. It means taking the best that we've seen in countries like Norway and Switzerland and Sweden and even to some extent Canada. Some of the values that they have. We have wasted so much money to transfer so much wealth to the few. If we just put that money into our own, we could have so much of a better system. No doubt. No doubt. But as far as the big problem is, America has been indoctrinated into believing there is some congruency between capitalism and democracy. They are mutually exclusive. We don't have a democracy in the capitalist domain. People have a hard time understanding that, and that's why we keep teaching this reality over and over again. But anyhow, our first video of the day is something special that happened. You see what Donald Trump is doing with his personal police, the goons, the ICE goons. Remember, that's going to be the biggest police in this country, the ICE goons. And they're running around the country, beating up on people, arresting them, disappearing them, and doing all these things, right? Well, as many believe that judges will come in and save the day. Well, I want you to listen to this here because this just happened earlier today. And I found it astounding. I want you to listen to this, and then we'll take it on the other side. Stephen Miller made a big boo-boo today on CNN. And when he made that boo-boo, he actually went catatonic. I want you guys to take a look at this. What upsetting, though, is pretty much CNN bailed him out by actually, for all practical purposes, not being very honest with the public. Listen to this, and then we'll take it on the other side.
Oregon illegal insurrection. Does the administration still plan to abide by that ruling?
Well, the administration filed an appeal this morning with the Ninth Circuit. I would note the administration won an identical case in the Ninth Circuit just a few months ago with respect to the federalizing of the California National Guard. Under Title 10 of the U.S. Code, the president has plenary authority.
Stephen? Stephen? Hey, Stephen, can you hear me? It seemed, Stephen, I apologize. It seems like we're having a technical.
It is clear that when he said plenary power, what happened there is he was making it clear what most of us who are activists understand. Donald Trump was getting authoritative and he wanted to take full control of our government by all means necessary. The definition of plenary power is plenary power refers to the full and complete authority held by a governing body or branch of government to act on a particular manner without limitations from other branches. The term often arises in constitutional law, especially in discussions of Congress's authority, state sovereignty, and executive actions. So they have been using this in Project 2025 as they discuss what powers, the unitary executive that they always talk about. This is some serious stuff. This is some serious stuff. And what he did was he let the truth out accidentally on a CNN interview when asked the question simply, is Donald Trump going to follow what the judges and everybody else tell him he can't and cannot do? And Stephen comes out and he tells you what the plan is. The plan is we think that the code says that the president has plenary power. It doesn't say that he lied. And since he understood that it was a big mistake because of the implications of those words, he went catatonic and he couldn't speak and he stopped and he froze and CNN gave him a lifeline. Oh, we are having technical difficulties. They go off air, go to commercial and come back. And he continues to speak now. And what he does as he spoke is he left that word completely out. And I don't have that clip, but he no longer said the president had plenary power. Folks, these things that we've been telling you would happen over the last several years when we said if this guy came back into power, what would occur? One by one, they're starting to occur. You hear him talk about cities exploding and cities being unruly. When there's nothing happening in Portland that looks anything like what he's saying. Portland is not burning. Chicago is not burning. LA is not burning. Memphis is not burning. None of these cities have the problems that he is talking about as he sends his private goons in there under the pretext of immigration and the guards under the pretext of protecting federal workers and buildings. None of that is justified. And what you heard Stephen Miller do right there is tell you what the plan is. He accidentally told you and then he froze. I always said, these are not the smartest cats that are trying to take our government out or over. And if we allow such a poor cast to be the founders of the America's autocracy, it would be well deserved. It is time that all Americans need to get out there. They need to engage and they need to let these folks know who are really in command. These pipsqueaks that we have here trying to show the manhood and I don't want to sound sexist, but you know how the term is used, the manhood that they're lacking by being bullies, that has got to end and only Americans can do that. All of
our country's problems from home.
Absolutely, only we can do that. Now, I have quite a few TikToks that from some very sensible people that I want you to take a look at, and we'll take it from there. This particular one I think is rather important. Let me get it on the screen, and then we can move forward on it. Cover my face, por favor, quiero hacer eso. There we go. Let's take a listen to this.
The last time Donald Trump was in office, we had a pandemic and the economy crashed. This time that Donald Trump's in office, we have no pandemic, and yet we are moving in the same direction, even worse. Let's think about this for just a minute, okay? The second time he decimated farming, and a bunch of his rich friends started investing in buying up farmland. The first time he tried to remove ACA, and then ACA was affirmed and didn't go away, but they tried many times. So now, since they can't get that done, even though they run the whole show, now they're just gonna defund it to where the average person on ACA is gonna see their policy jump by like 3 times. There will be no tax credit or anything like that. Now add to this that he trashed the oil market the last time, and he's doing that again. We've got 30,000 people last week from Exxon, I think, and then there was about 50,000 before that. We've seen your power costs go up about 12%. It's going to continue to do that. We've seen we've seen actual prices in the grocery store go up. We're all feeling that because inflation is on the rise. Anything that's got metal in it is more expensive. We have a bunch of manufacturers who've actually pulled out of the United States. And then we've lost a bunch of manufacturing jobs. Now keep in mind, under Biden, we increased manufacturing jobs more than we had in like 10 years. And then as that happens, we see a very obvious situation where the service sector is going to probably lose around 1.4 million jobs. It looks like we lost at least 30,000 jobs last month just because of what ADP said. So we're not moving forward. Now we're sliding back. This is happening. It doesn't matter what the stock market's doing day to day. This is happening because all these indicators are sitting at like 2008 levels, 2020 levels. This historically, this is not even a party-oriented thing, but historically, this is what Republican administrations do. The difference between this one and all the rest of them is they have spent money that is beyond anything conceivable for no good result. And what the MAGA doesn't understand is super simple. This party is coming for them. I mean, they make less money and they're less educated than most Democrats. You know, I told you a few months back whenever black unemployment was like 7.88%. That told us where we were going. We were doing good when Biden was in. We were growing every single month. This is happening. Just go look at legitimate financial folks that are talking about things. And you will see that housing is starting to crash. You're seeing that people aren't buying mortgages. You're seeing people are selling houses left and right, trying to get out from underneath them. Airbnbs go look on Zillow and see how many furnished houses are being sold. And those houses are Airbnbs. This is happening. This is happening in real time right now. We're watching it. This is how an administration destroys an economy. The truth is, in the world of our economy, if you just leave it alone, it really does work pretty good. You just have to regulate it enough so that a bunch of evil things don't happen. But understood, this is how this is going to go, okay? Understand this is how this is going to go. This is what the patterns say. This is what history says will happen. After this shit show comes to an end, we will have to act with speed and grace to get a bunch of things handled. And among those things will be putting back healthcare, but putting it back in a way that it actually touches every American. That may not be single payer day one, but it's going to be damn close. We're going to put guardrails on government so that when you try to take over the government with something like Project 2025, it doesn't happen. And we're going to do this. You know why? We're going to do this because of this dumbass and these dumbass followings think that this is how you run a country. They think Gilead's a good idea. They do. I only know this because I talk to them often and they tell me things like this. Like, the church should be in charge. We have to make these people crawl back under their rock and hope that they don't take any vaccines. So maybe they'll, natural selection. But I'm tired of this. But I mean, like, I read the tea leaves. This is what's happening. It's happening right now and you should be feeling it now. And you should make accommodations for this. Don't buy anything big. Assume that things are not going to go well, because they're not. As we used to say in the country, start soaking the beans. I wish it was good news, guys. It's not. It's terrible. But just know that the terrible gets us to the place we ultimately want to go. And that stinks, because yanking this Band-Aid off is going to hurt. It does every day. I appreciate being here with you, though, because at least I know that there are a bunch of us that understand these things and actually care about, continuity and respect for people and things the Bible talks about for real. Peace, y'all. The last time.
There is something about this guy that really got to me, because he nails a few things that I think we should all be aware of. I've said this for those who come to me every day. You've heard me say this, but we get a lot of new people, so I'll repeat some of it. But anyway, I want to point out first of, let's see. Michael says, Trump's tariffs cost the American people billions. The international blowback from tariffs costs Americans exports, and Trump's attacks against healthcare will cost the American people billions more. And it's a lot deeper than that, right? Because what we also have is that a lot of MAGA is actually going to see what Donald Trump is doing with Argentina. We're giving $20 billion to Argentina, as Argentina is taking over the soybean markets, which the American farmer has lost. But this young man said quite a bit. He's called himself the aged poorly. Every time Republicans come into office, they blow stuff up. And I've written about that in my book called As I See It, Class Warfare, the Only Resort to Right-Wing Doom. I want to give you guys some numbers that a lot of people don't quite realize. They like to pray to Reagan. Reagan did something special. After he crashed the economy and realized that he was in dire straits, he did the important things, like he started back taxing the rich. He started back spending on social. He made a correction. He made what's called a Keynesian correction. I write about this in the book. And out of that, he got 16 million jobs in his 2 years. He got 16 million jobs. But everybody talks about the Reagan Revolution as if he really accomplished something great, not pointing out that Bill Clinton didn't get 16 million jobs. Bill Clinton got 23 million more jobs. So when we take a look at all the history of what was going on with Republican versus Democrat, I'm going to list a table that I built here in the book. Harry Truman, 8.4 million. Dwight Eisenhower, only 3.5 million. John F. Kennedy, 3.6 million in less than a term. Lyndon B. Johnson, 11.9 million, another Democrat. Richard Nixon, just 9.4 million. Gerald Ford, 1.8 million. But Jimmy Carter, one term, 10.5 million. Ronald Reagan, 16 million, 2 terms. George Bush, 2.5 million, 1 term. Bill Clinton, 23 million. George W. Bush, the other one, got 3 million in 2 terms. So what we see here is the utter failure of Republican policies, and the rule is, every time Republicans take over, we get a recession. Every time Republicans take over, the economy does worse. And what is so important about that is you can see the numbers are not an accident. We are talking about north of a 33% difference in economic activity based on who is in power. And if you notice, even now, we can see that the government is the economy is shrinking under Donald Trump after Biden left him with an economy that was growing. Now, here's the thing. Michael Rudin said something that is very important. And he said the following. He said he begged to differ with this guy in that the economy was not good for a lot of people. And he's right. The economy in the aggregate, the total performance of the economy was much better under Donald Trump than the total performance of the economy under the start of Trump. But here's the thing. We have a former Trump administration to look at as well. And that as well wasn't all that good. Now, here is what people need to really be cognizant of. And this is very important. When we look at the policy proper, anytime we get Democrats that hinder Keynesian type economics, that hinder economics that pushes money to the people who have the least, we fail. And that is what happened even under Biden when he tried to pass his, not the IRA, but the other one, when we had Cinema and Manchin. Stop it. It took people right back. It took the kid. I mean, they solved the poverty in kids problem under the first couple years of Biden. And as soon as Republicans came and took away these protections we had for the poor, the poverty rate began again. These are not accidents. This is all by design. And the other thing that I want to tell you, Michael, is that the reason why the economy can do so well and people do so poorly is because that is a mathematical formula of capitalism. And I know a lot of people don't like to hear it, but a lot of people are starting to understand it. That's why capitalism has gone from the high 90s all the way down to the 54 now and sinking. Because the design of that economic system, and look, I am not talking about communism and all that kind of stuff at all. I'm saying the design of capitalism. People want to say, well, what we need is regulated capitalism. Regulated capitalism ain't capitalism at all. What we need, as I was speaking to an activist yesterday, and he called me up to tell me that he was going into the hospital to get some heart surgery, and we were talking about economic systems. And I told him the problem that we have right now is anytime you speak about modifying the economic system to one that works for people, the first thing you get is socialism, socialism, Cuba, Venezuela. It's a scare tactic used on people. I said, stop labeling economic system. Just make the economic system do what it is supposed to do for people. Don't label it. And what you'd come out with is programs like healthcare for all. Healthcare is a right. You'll come out like the nationalization of banking. You'll come out with, and I'm not talking about investment banking. I said the nationalization of banking. There's no reason for people who hold your money to make a profit for holding your money and that you have to use them for electronic banking and all of that. That should be a government function who controls the money. So here's what I'm saying. We need an economic system that energy, healthcare, transportation should be controlled by we the people, the government. If you want a pizza shop, capitalism. If you want to own a store that fixes cars, capitalism. If you want to own a restaurant, capitalism. Do as you please. Unregulated if you want, as long as you don't pollute the air, pollute the ground, and harm other people. Do as you please. Charge as you please. Because the things that are essential for human beings is in the public domain. That's the economic system I want. The economic system that should be is one that says, healthcare, I shouldn't have to think twice. I feel a lump here, but I can't go to the doctor because it's going to cost me too much and I don't have enough money. That's not healthcare. You need a healthcare system that says, if I am sick, I know I can go to the doctor. People say, well, there's not enough cover. No, most people don't want to go to the doctor. But if they have a problem, they will. And, it's not going to be shortages because we spend more money than the rest of the world. And our system, people talk about Canada, they're waiting lines. Oh, they're waiting lines if you have to have a hip surgery because they stack you up there. But you know what? My wife had to go see a doctor to get EPO. She had to wait for 2 months before she could see that specialist. And she has good insurance from the school district. So this stuff about wait lines, it's a scare tactic. We need to bolden ourselves up and support an economic system that supports us and not just serve billionaires. People say, well, billionaire envy. When you talk about having When you talk about must then earn it or whatever, that's envy. It's not envy. It's support for all our American people. Because the 300 billion or 400 billion that Musk has is money that wasn't paid to you. It's money that wasn't paid to all these other people. But as long as we see it as socialism or something like that, we are going to harm ourselves. Understand that the current system that we have is a parasitic system. You do the work, they get the spoils. And I'd love anybody who wants to call me and debate that. That is a mathematical formula. Why should you do the work and the other people get the spoils? Why should you be the creator? I use an example of Marconi and Tesla. Tesla, not Tesla the car. Tesla, the inventor of radio waves. He didn't have capital, so he didn't get rich from his invention. Marconi came from a rich family. Who got the patent? Marconi. And in my book, As I See It, Class Warfare, the only resort to right-wing doom, I also point out how evil the patent system is. Because again, you can be a great inventor and somebody goes ahead and file before you or whatever. They own the patent and you are frozen out of the market. Look, don't let anybody fool you, folks. Our economic system is working exactly as it is supposed to and is it intended to work. It is working exactly as designed, and that is to be extractive, and that is to be using you as an antiseptic slave. They found a better way to implement slavery. At first, it was people who looked like me that, you know, the rest of the folks could say, well, at least I'm not them. So, you know, I don't particularly like slavery, but, you know, it's not me. I'm not going to fight too much because, you know, let them go ahead and do it. But capitalism always find, you know, the definition of capitalism is an efficient allocation of resources. I want you to hear this again. The definition of capitalism is the efficient allocation of resources. And the efficient allocation of resources mean that we do whatever is necessary to make, and again, the God of capitalism, which is Milton Friedman, the new God, says that the corporate structure should have no concern about social issues. Their sole purpose is a maximization of profits for their shareholders. That's it. So if you have the efficient allocation of resources and you have maximization of profits for your shareholder, what's left? Humanity doesn't count. And that's why we love the employee. Because when we had slaves, official slaves, we had to clothe the slave, we had to feed the slave, we had to make sure the slave was healthy, we had to make sure the slave, because the slave was a means of production. It was an asset, it was a capital asset. And remember, in America, capital has more value than humanity. It was a capital asset. So we had to feed the slave. What is a more efficient use of the human body? Not a slave. The more efficient use of a human body is an employee. Why? A slave, you have all of the times. Whether your farm is making money or not, the slave is your asset. And you have to keep it fed. You have some fixed cost on that slave. Here comes the employee, what I call the antiseptic slave. That employee now, when they're no longer needed, when the economy goes into a dip, we just lay them off. Expenses gone. If I had a slave, I still have to feed that slave. I still have to clothe that slave. I still have to keep that slave empty. An employee, I get rid of him. If a slave is one of those people that are obnoxious and give you hell, that becomes a liability. If an employee misbehaves and gives me hell, I let that employee go. And I bring one in that is willing to do what needs to be done. You see how employee is just an improved slave that costs the capital system less? Now, here is the solution, though. The solution used to be unions. You have good labor unions that actually is fighting on the behalf of the employee so that there is an even keel there. But Trump and Republicans are trying to kill unions. So bargaining power and all of that goes away. So we're coming back to the days of the robber barons. We're coming back to the days of the effective antiseptic slave called employees. When you see people talk against much of what I'm saying, oh, you're trying to be a communist or a socialist. No, I'm not. I'm trying to be fair. And I'm trying to tell you, that things are not going to get better unless we make it better. We have to make it better. Because right now, it's moving in one direction. For those of you who aren't aware or know who Richard Wolff is, check out some of the interviews that I've done with economist Richard Wolff, and even and some other economists that I've talked about modern monetary theory and all these other concepts. Very easy to understand, but we have to take charge. Okay, next subject is Marjorie Taylor Greene. I want to play the piece that I did this afternoon for it. Let's go ahead and play that. Won't you know, Marjorie Taylor Greene is actually now on the side of Democrats. She finally found out that they were lied to. Her constituents, including her 2 kids, grown kids in the state of Georgia, will have their health coverage, or rather the price of their health insurance, doubled. She didn't believe it. Yesterday, I pointed out that AOC spoke to a particular Republican who said he doesn't believe that these things are going to happen. Well, they're actually happening now. And guess who saw it? Marjorie Taylor Greene. Who would thunk it that she would be the one fighting her own party and telling them, nope, I'm standing with the Democrats now. We need to get subsidies because otherwise people are going to lose their insurance. The problem is, most Republicans understand what's going on and they are okay with that. They don't want subsidies. That's not their belief system. If you can't have insurance, die. Check this out and then we'll take it on the other side.
As for the shutdown, 8 days in and still no end in sight, Democrats still demand action be taken now on tax credits for Obamacare premiums. Speaking on the Senate floor yesterday, Democratic Senator Patty Murray of Washington outlined the 10 states that will see the highest increases in health insurance premiums if ACA tax credits expire. In the top 5 states, which include West Virginia, Wyoming, Alaska, Tennessee, and Mississippi, premiums will more than quadruple. Premiums are also expected to more than triple in other states, including Texas, South Carolina, and Alabama. All 10 are considered to be red states. That's perhaps explaining why Republican Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene of Georgia doubled down yesterday on her break with GOP leadership over health care subsidies amid the government shutdown. Greene slammed her party, claiming Republicans did not have a plan on health care, arguing the GOP should be working to fix the problem now instead of using the issue as political leverage. Greene criticized the GOP's lack of action in an interview yesterday, saying in part, quote, when it comes to the point where families are spending anywhere from $1,500 to $2,000 a month and looking at hikes coming on their insurance premiums, I think that's unforgivable. The far-right congresswoman broke with the party on Monday after posting on social media that her adult children who are covered by the Affordable Care Act will see their premiums double if the issue is not addressed. House Speaker Mike Johnson pushed back yesterday when asked about Greene's remarks regarding the health care issue at the center of the shutdown.
Congresswoman Greene does not serve on the committees of jurisdiction that deal with those specialized issues, and she's probably not read in on some of that because they've still been sort of in their silos of the people who specialize in those issues. When we get the conference back and when everybody's back together, we'll go through a lot of that. I mean, I've spoken personally to a number of members in the last 3 days, Republicans, from the most conservative member to the more moderate member, with their various ideas on that. There's a lot of work that's been done on that. It's implied as if this has been some sort of ignored issue. It's not that at all.
Well, then what is it? Greene fired back, claiming Johnson has not reached out to discuss her concerns.
Let's be clear here, folks. Again, remember, McCain is the one who saved the Obamacare when they were on the brink of killing it. Well, they found a new way to kill it. Get rid of the subsidies. It dies on the vine because it's not self-sustaining, right? That's what they want to do. And the problem is they told their constituencies that nobody was going to lose their insurance. Nobody. Do you remember what they did to Obama when under Obamacare? You didn't lose your insurance. You just maybe had to go to a different doctor. Remember that? In other words, you're going to still have insurance, but a few people were going to have another doctor. But now it's not about having another doctor. Now it's about you lose your insurance coverage. You come closer to death. And they're okay with it because they just don't want government subsidies for insurance. They rather give that money to the wealthy benefactors, which is what they did. And now they're fighting not to give these subsidies. When you see even Marjorie Taylor Greene is on board. We had one of Donald Trump's former advisors telling him, "Hey, remember, MAGA uses Obamacare more than any other demographic. MAGA uses Obamacare. MAGA needs Obamacare. MAGA needs government services because remember, red states are welfare states. These people take more from government than anyone else. The only problem is that very few of them know it because the news that they listen to continue to lie to them." There is a recent report that we should talk about sometime later that points out that people at Fox News, a particular, I think it's a producer or a newscaster at Fox News said, "We have made the country worse because pretty much of the lies. This was internal communication because of the lies that they tell their constituents and have all their constituents, the people who listen to Fox News, fooled with the lies." And again, we are suffering through the failed media in this country that has allowed a sect in this country to be completely and entirely snowed. And in their misinformation, in them getting things wrong, they have screwed the entire country. They have screwed the entire country because they're so ill-informed and have allowed these charlatanes, these evil beings, to go ahead and malign the government so badly that we all pay the price. All of our country's problems from polarization. Now, there are a couple more TikToks that I ran across over the last few days that I think a lot of you would like to see. And there's one that really touched on me, and it had to do with colonialism, capitalism, and the new ism being pushed by China. I want you to listen to this because this guy was insightful, and this man got it.
The U.S. is a world power. History tells us, because when you know history, the future is not a mystery. Trump is removing the U.S. as a world power, and we all expect China to step in and fill that void. But what is China going to do? Well, history tells us, because when you know history, the future is not a mystery. The first modern world leaders were Spain and Portugal, Kill, conquer, plunder. Genocide and gold in the name of Jesus. Not a great model. Turn the page of history, and Britain and France are the controllers. Colonize, control, exploit. They didn't burn your village. They made you run it for them. Still not a great model, but I'd rather be told what to do by the British than slaughtered by the Spanish. Then came the US. Trade, topple, profit. No need for colonies when you've got Coca-Cola and coups. Trade on American terms, or they overthrew your government. That's not an ideal model, but it's better than the Spanish or British. And China. Build, bind, control. No violence, no coups, just ports, railways, fiber optic cables. This isn't conquest, it's connectivity. It's connectivity with strings attached. They don't invade, they invest. There's still control. They own the ports, the roads, the data, but it's the best model in 500 years. And it's what's next. Trump is removing
and that is what, this guy put it so perfectly well. Because he did that in 1 minute and 9 seconds. It took me 3 minutes to actually tell that story at KPFT. This guy did it perfectly. He tied it all and wrapped it up and put a bow on it. If you didn't get that, check it out when I post this to Substack, because I tell you what, he nailed it. There's another thing. I wish we could get our audience. I wish we could get our listeners as smart as this seemingly everyday person out of England.
Is immigration a problem in the UK?
I know you guys hear the immigration stories here and much more. I want you to listen to this guy, because this guy is, I think I have time. Yeah, I do have time. Let me back it up some.
No. Is immigration a problem in the UK?
Nope,
is immigration a problem in the UK?
All right, let's go ahead and put it on now. I want you to listen to how he answers the question. You can see they were trying to set him up here. Check this out.
Is immigration a problem in the UK?
No.
Why'd you say no?
Because it's fundamental to our existence.
Oh, why'd you say that?
Because we need it. We don't have enough people being born in this country. We need immigrants. It's simple.
Why does the UK fear immigration?
We're told to.
By who?
The elites that own us. So the capitalists and the billionaires that are in charge, that really own us and own our parties, mostly the Tories, but now Labour as well, they tell us to fear it because they need someone to blame for our problems, when really they're the ones causing our problems.
Do you think we have overpopulations in major cities?
No, not at all. We've got loads of room.
You think so, really? Because everyone says that the UK is such a small thing, the country is individual small islands. Bringing more people here, we don't have the space for it. Like, do you have any thoughts on that?
I think that's a lie. We have the green belt. The green belt is mostly empty space, and we've killed all the animals in it. We might as well build on it. We need houses. It's the fundamental thing that kills our country and kills our young people. We need to build houses. We need to make them so that people can buy them and own them, and stop them being owned by landlords. That's the fact.
So I saw another stat on ITV that in the last 10 years, there's 6.2 million people on the waiting list for NHS, and 2 million children in poverty in the UK. That allegedly that is due to immigration. Do you have any thoughts on that?
I think it's not due to immigration. Immigration is the reason our NHS works. The thing that causes that is governments deliberately underfunding and sort of underutilising the NHS for what it could really be. It's nothing to do with immigrants coming in. It's to do with it being badly managed and badly funded.
Was Brexit a good or bad idea?
Terrible idea.
Why?
Fundamentally ruined every aspect of our country, and by every measurable factor, it's weakened us. We can't. The problem is as well with immigrants, the people that don't like immigrants, that want to get rid of immigrants, that would even be easier if we were in the EU. It's weakened everything. We can't do anything because we're not in the EU. We're not the big powerful Britannia that we once used to be, where we were going around the world and slaughtering people. We're a little island that's off the coast of the Atlantic. We need to be in the EU to have any kind of power or any kind of say-so. We need to have fair and legal routes for people to be able to access this country, and if you want to stop the small boats, that's how you start doing it, and eventually by becoming a member of the EU, that would help us do that as well.
And I'll ask you more questions just for fun. Would you vote reformed?
I'm not mental or racist, so no.
You're gonna get me killed, mate.
That is just an average guy on the street being asked questions. And I was so proud of the way he answered them. I mean, and it is simple knowledge that all of us should have. And what is interesting is what's plaguing all Western countries right now. It's the same thing that they're dealing with. Immigration those people who are using immigrants as scapegoats, and people not understanding that immigration is necessary because of the birth rates in these Western countries, and specifically even countries like Japan. It's amazing that a lot of folks don't see. Donald Trump is running around this country, disrupting economies in the cities by putting fear into immigrants, whether they have green cards or not. He's putting fear on farms, so your vegetables, etc., are not getting cosechar, not getting picked up. You think about all of this. This explains why these policies don't work. And that one young man on the streets, he knows that the billionaires are the problem. He knows that them accumulating wealth and holding on to capital and not having capital distributed the way it should. Like I said, billionaires are parasites. Super high millionaires as well are parasites. He understood all of that. Hirut Kiren Miriam says, people are waking up because of people like you, Egberto. Thank you so kindly. You touched my heart because I need to hear that. And by the way, I like also to hear when I need to change the subject or when I need to make things clearer, etc. I am not one of those guys that think, I'm saying it this way and this is the way it's going to be. I adore input. My dear beautiful LBW is in the house. She says, I'm late, but I'm here. Thank you for being here, beautiful. Appreciate you being here. I love having the teachers on board, you know. If I make a mistake, they can actually correct me like that, you know. Like, hey, Berto, no, that's you have the wrong history now. Thank you, man. Anyway, Reverend Carlton said they have always known at Fox News that they are lying. They've done it on purpose for profit. The value of Fox News share is all that matters over the people, over the country. Nothing matters but money. That is the problem. You know how you know that Fox News and that lies are profitable? These guys lost a $1 billion lawsuit, near $1 billion, was able to pay it, and it didn't leave a dent in their in their corporate economy. You have to ask why. And Reverend Carlton says Trump is the worst terrorist in the modern world. I agree. And also billionaires are parasite. Es verdad. Hey, it's truth. Carlton is speaking some Spanish there. You know, it's interesting. Let me just tell you, for those of you who are in Houston, we are having, Pantex is having, it's, another group that I'm in, a Panamanian group. We're having our, what is it called? Our man, I need to get my head together because I just finished the website. And I can't remember the name that we gave our gala. We're having our all-white gala where it's going to be a cultural thing with Panamanian food and the Panamanian dresses and all of that. Since I'm done with the program, I'm just going to give you a little ilk of our website here. I just built this website. I got finished with it on Sunday because we are having our gala and we're bringing 100 firemen from Panama to march in the Veterans Day Parade. We just got the approval notice that we were accepted into the Veterans Day Parade. We kind of did it back-assward because we got the visas and all of that for the people to come over. And so I am happy about it. I'm excited about it. We're going to be able to display our cultural dresses and our cultural foods, etc. And everybody in the Houston vicinity or close by can check out our website. And if you're interested in coming on to it, come on out. It's a fee for the gala, of course, because we have to pay for all that food. And we have to pay for all the salsa bands that are going to be coming out there to give you some good music, etc. But come and check it out if you are inclined to do so. That is some of the things that we do out here. But anyway, folks, we got to get out of here. Project 2025 is going to finish us. Hirut Kiren Miriam. Let's not say that. let's not say that, my sis. We are going to win this thing. Look, all those folks that you see in that picture here, they immigrated from Latin America, Panama, Costa Rica, Honduras, Nicaragua, because they believe in what the promise of America is supposed to be. All those people you see on the screen there. I came here. I wasn't born here. I came here on a promise. And by the way, I feel just as an American as any other American, because remember, Americans go down to Central America and South America, and it's the same thing. When they're in Panama and they're naturalized, they're Panamanians, and you have a lot of them living up in the mountains in Panama, enjoying life, and son panameños, esos americanos ahora son panameños. I'm a Panamanian, I'm an American. We knew what America stood for. We learned what America stood for, and I'll be damned if, along with my American brothers and sisters, we don't stop this autocracy. I will be damned if we don't stop it. So my dear sister Hirut Kirein Miriam, it won't happen. We are putting a stop to it. And to all of you who have negative feelings, I feel I have to get on my soapbox for 20 seconds or so. For all of you who are having negative feelings, the way to get over the negative feelings is to act, to go out there, to be involved, to not be scared of somehow they're going to shoot you or that MAGA is going to come and attack you. MAGA is going to eventually be your friend, believe it or not, because MAGA is about to be had. MAGA is about to realize what this administration is doing to them. But for MAGA to get that, you, all of us here, all of us in the know, have to be able to point out to them. Because you know, the autocracy knows to lie very well. Elon Musk knows how to lie very well. I'm sorry, I got to go another minute. Let me tell you better. They are controlling TikTok, Facebook, Threads, Instagram, all of that. All of that is under their control now. X, Twitter, all of that is under right-wing control. So you may ask, so how are we going to reach the masses? Let's use that as an opportunity. And what opportunity does that give us? The opportunity that gives us is now to get touchy-fleshy again. You know, where I come from, we love to hug. In fact, for any of you who come to our Panamanian gala, you're going to see that. You're going to see a whole bunch of people dressed nicely, hugging up on each other. Loving cultures from the south of the border. And let me tell you, we are going to fight. The founder of our group, Roberto Luis, fought in Iraq. He came over here. A lot of Panamanians came over here and spilled blood in Vietnam, in Korea, in all these other wars. And that's what we're celebrating actually at our gala. But let me tell you, we are not going to give in. And it takes all of you. When October 18th come and we have these big protests, you ought to be there. You ought to be there on No King's Day on October 18th. All of you find it's going to be spread all over. It should be the largest one we ever had. Be there. Be there. Don't let them fearmonger you that maybe people are going to have guns. And be there. That is how you keep your democracy. That's how we keep our democracy. You have to show up. All right, got to get out of here now. I officially got to get out of here. Folks, please support the program. And how can you support the program? Please go to politicsdoneright.com/newsletter, politicsdoneright.com/newsletter, and become a paid subscriber if you have the wherewithal to do so. Please do so. I'm going to put that link in there, politicsdoneright.com/newsletter. I'm putting it in both chats right now, politicsdoneright.com/newsletter. That supports my radio show, because remember, I don't get paid at KPFT at all. None of that. Everything that you give to KPFT goes to KPFT to keep that very important station, especially now, on air. Likewise, when you contribute to our Substack, you're contributing to allow me to continue doing this with all this equipment, the AI stuff that I use and everything else. That is how it's done. It's subsidized by our newsletter. So I ask you so kindly, those of you who have the wherewithal to do so, to please go ahead and subscribe to our newsletter. Be a paid subscriber. It's inexpensive. It's a cup of coffee. And I know you wouldn't have a problem providing a cup of coffee. We're going to win this stuff. And look, I ain't going nowhere. And other people doing this same thing, they ain't going nowhere. We are making the change. We are fighting for democracy, and nobody's going to shut us up. A friend of mine called me today. He had just bought some tickets for our Pantix gala. And he said, what are you doing? And I said, I don't care. My daughter came into my studio and she said, Dad, are you going to keep doing this? Because she's noticing how it's getting more authoritarian and they're arresting folks. And, you know, I have an American passport, but it does say I was born in Panama. Are you going to keep doing this, Dad? Yeah, babe. I got to keep doing that. I feel happy. You're a teacher now. You can pretty much, for the most part, take care of yourself, even though, you know, she's paralyzed on the left side. And, you know, we will do just fine. If I were to get locked up and drug off or something, I'm going to tell you something. It's worth it. Because everyone, if you have to be drugged for a while, dragged away for a while, it's worth it. We cannot cede this country to the least deserving. And these guys definitely don't deserve this country. These guys are treasonous. They don't deserve this country. So please support us, folks. Best you can. politicsandright.com/newsletter. I will continue doing this. This is a passion that I've had for the rest of my life, however and whatever it takes. Whatever it takes. Anyway, got to get out of here. My name is Egberto Willies. This is Politics Done Right. And you guys know how I end this baby. I am what? Out!
Welcome to Politics Done Right. I am your host, Egberto Willies. This is a progressive program that will take the mystery out of politics. This is the program that will encourage you to make sure government becomes we the people. Whether you are liberal, progressive, conservative, or otherwise, you get to air your point of view. We are an independent media outlet that, unlike mainstream media beholden to corporations, we only owe allegiance to you. Remember, you can also send me a tweet at EGBERTOWILLIES. That is at Egberto Willies. Let us engage. It is Politics Done Right.